I think when somebody's ready to jump into a new business, right, you have to treat it like a new business, not like a hobby, right? And so some of the biggest mistakes, if they don't have a solid set of, a pathway to know exactly how to do this, get the right mentors, get the right education, either be us or somebody else, get the right education before you go into this thing. That is what I feel most people lack that try to do something. I don't care if it's this or anything else, is they need the right mentors that have gone before them, made all the mistakes, because trust me, Dave's made all the mistakes. That's why he's such a great teacher right now, is because he knows just as much as what not to do than what to do, right. Which makes him a master. Because if you know both sides of that equation, you become really good at what you're doing. And I think if anybody's going to take a business serious, jump in with 2 feet, get the help you need so you don't go it alone. It's going to shorten your learning curve. And that, I feel, is the biggest mistake that some people do. They hear this guy's doing this guy's doing that. It's this easy. It's that simple. When it really isn't. It's just a business. And you have to understand every facet of it, every aspect of it. And you have to get good at all of it. That I think is critical as well.
Welcome to the $1 Million Equation Podcast, a podcast about the easiest, fastest way to build $1 million business based on the best-selling book, The $1 Million Equation. If you love business, each episode reveals all of the core fundamental essentials for growth. Now, here's your host, Richelle Shaw.
Everybody, I'm back. It's Richelle again, and my new friends. So these guys I don't know for forever, like everybody else, but I have been intrigued and more intrigued with what they are doing, and I said, you know what? Here's something that anybody can participate in. And once I realized that, then I knew that they needed to be in my summit and be able to explain how things work. So what these guys do is that they work in luxury Airbnb. So if you've ever thought about getting your old house or getting a new one and putting it in Airbnb, today we're going to ask them those questions so they can tell us yes or no or hell no, don't do that, because that's what we always want to know. So I'd like to introduce my new friends, Jerry and Dave. Say hi, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, thanks for having us, Richelle.
Oh, yeah. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So, Jerry, I know that you guys are partners in this venture and you guys are just crushing it right now in the market. But tell me how you kind of got started. What happened? What made you say,
this is great.
Let's jump in this one?
Yeah, thank you so much. I've had a career in helping entrepreneurs that probably goes back to 30 years. And I've been working with entrepreneurs, the whole time. And I met Dave about 15, 16 months ago. And he was involved in this luxury short-term vacation rental industry. I happened to have a client at the time that was doing it on a smaller level with regular homes and really just hosting homes, renting out a room, a shed, these types of things, and making extra money, where entrepreneurs, if they have a property, homeowners who have a property could just rent out a room and make some extra cash, right? So I was very intrigued by the space, and then a mutual friend of ours, of Dave and ours, introduced us, and my skill sets really matched up to what Dave was trying to accomplish. He wanted to get the word out to a larger market that luxury home is the place to be, where you can take one property without even owning it and generate $100,000 in profit with just one property you don't even own. And I thought, wow, that is cool. That is a business opportunity. That reminds me of like franchising, right? It reminds me of, hey, you can buy a business or get into a business and really set yourself free if you can learn a proven system on how to do it. And since this is my 5th educational company that I have founded, I felt, let's put my skill sets in education on how to do live events, educate students, and help students really grow to another place, along with Dave's content and expertise in the real estate space. I thought, wow, this couldn't be better. So we tested it. We tested it last April, not this April, but April of 2018. We did our first event in Scottsdale, Arizona. We had like 45 people that showed up, and it was an absolute success, but I wasn't convinced. I was like, wow, people really love this, And so we did it again in May, and we had the exact same result. And I knew I had something at that point, and the rest is history, right? The rest is history. We just completed our 8th event. We're moving. We're going to be doing our 9th event coming up here in August, which is really exciting.
I think that so many people are intrigued by just the concept. I don't know if I really want them in my house, but the fact that you said that you don't even have to own it is, now I'm like, okay, Dave, tell me, how does this work? That you don't even have to own it. How is that possible?
It's mind-boggling to me, still that I've been able to do this and achieve it, and people don't ask for my credit, they don't ask for money, and you sit down and you talk to them and you're like, okay, so let me get this straight. You're going to take my house, and then you're going to turn it into this vacation rental, and then you're going to pay me money, right? So, there's different ways to deal structure a house. It could be a form of a lease, a form of a co strategy, or a done-for-you strategy where we're just basically working for the homeowner and generating a lot of excess cash for the property. We could do seller wraps and carries and all sorts of creative things. We can pull cash out of a property, so not only do we take over the property, but we get paid to take the property, and then we get paid to manage the property. So there are so many different nuances that you can do. Just got to be able to find the right ones, right? And that's the key. You want to do it in the right area and find the right properties.
Oh, I love that. And so you jumped right in just with giving so much value, but explain to, everybody, who you are and how you have so much knowledge in this industry.
Okay. Well, I kind of fell into this. I've been in the real estate on and off in different marketing aspects, building aspects, rehab aspects for the last 30 years. And it really came to the point when someone came to me and said, Dave, why don't you turn all these houses into vacation rentals? And I never thought about it. I know I had taken a vacation. We loved it. And after thinking about it and studying the market for about 6 months, I said, you know what? This makes sense. I hired a professional that really knew what they were doing, and they almost put us out of business. So I said, you know what? If I am going to do this, I'm going to learn how to do it right. And that's what we ended up doing. And the rest is pretty much history. We started marrying all the concepts that we used to have in the fix and flip business on no money down strategies, ways to control people's property without buying them yourself. And I said, wow, if I could marry that strategy with the no money down strategy with all the income approach from the short-term rentals, it's like blowing something up, right? It just takes. So that's what we ended up doing in our first property. We were able to generate close to $210,000 in less than 6 months. And that was like, wow, you could probably only generate $6,000 a month in a lease, right? So you do the math and start looking at those numbers and you're like, you got something.
Yeah.
So when I decided, let's go into a full-time and hook up with Jerry.
Wow. Well, I'm trying not to just close my mouth and, oh my gosh, because I think that so many folks, think of it as just who wants this $100? It's such a headache, and you've just flipped it for me because you're talking about a true opportunity that's nothing like let's rent this back room and have somebody coming and traipsing into the house. So I know that you talked about luxury a little bit. So that's not the type of house that you're not looking for a regular standard 3-bedroom, 2-bath that you would be looking for in a flip, right? You're looking for something else?
Most of them are, because I don't want to be competing against the fix and flippers, which are doing the cookie cutter 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or the ones for $100,000, $200,000 homes. These are a little bit higher in the $700,000 to maybe $3 to $4 million homes.
Okay.
So you're in a different league. You don't have the same competition, and you're talking at a different level with people. So if you sit down and you really think about it logically, it makes perfect sense for them to make the switch. A lot of them are in trouble where they haven't been able to sell the home for maybe a year, year and a half. They're getting frustrated. Let's fire the realtor and do something different. So that's what we call ourselves. We call ourselves the Plan B approach. So we go in, we're your Plan B. If you can't do this, let's jump on board.
I love it. I mean, that makes so much sense. So what do you think what's the big hesitation for normally the owner of the property originally? Like, do they hesitate, or is it just, look, I'm going to show you the numbers, I'm going to show you how you can really, change this around and get the cash flow that you need? Or what is their big objection?
Well, the big objection is, of course, they want to sell the property, right? So, hey, I want to sell it. Do you have the cash? If you don't have the cash, let's find someone else. Well, I show them, well, we can have the cash and we can generate the cash right through your home. And if they sit down long enough to go through it logically, I said, you can sit at the house, continue to sell the house and not have another buyer for another year. Or we can do it this way. I can pay you handsomely each and every month. At the end of 12 months, if we hit the numbers, we can sell it out to one of our 1031 investors. And at that point, you cash out. I continue to do what I do with the investor, and the property owner is gone.
Wow. No, that makes like so much sense.
Thank you so much for listening to my passion project and the $1 Million Equation podcast. Love what you're hearing? If you like it, I love it. So click the subscribe button to get each week your new favorite episode.
How long, like when you do take the property, how long do you normally hold it? Is it an individual thing, or do they just, every time it changes?
Every time it does change, because we start marketing the property after 6 months, and we may have an investor within 2 or 3 months thereafter. It may take us another year to find that investor because we still need to build the cash flow in the case for the house. Every house is totally unique. Try to get only luxury homes that are in our wheelhouse. And what I mean by that is it's in the right area. It's got the right curb appeal. It's got the right wow factor. It doesn't, when people come to me and say, can you do it with my house? We have to look at it. If it doesn't fit all our parameters, we have to take a pass. So it does also have to be in the strategic locations where A, it's legal, B, it's in a destination area, right? We want to have people that want to come here, not where we have to figure out a way to get them here. So, so that's what we try to do.
It's like, so maybe, Fresno, California is not the number one place, right?
No, Fresno is a hot area, but it's certainly not one that I would probably vacation at.
Okay. So
and
it's
again, that's based
a destination. Sorry, Jerry, you were saying?
Yeah, Richelle, that's based on research. We really have to look up the area to really make that decision. If it's got enough traffic, from a standpoint of vacationers, even though we call this a short-term vacation rental industry, people are using properties. Corporate retreats are being held at these homes, right? Masterminds are being held at these homes. People use them for weddings and, bar mitzvahs and birthday parties and all kinds of things. So it's not just vacation anymore. I am part of a couple business masterminds myself, and one of them is held at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando. And, I can stay there for 4 days with a group of, CEOs. It costs me, close to $2,000. Or I can team up with 3 of my buddies and rent, a condo right down the street, and we can spend, a fourth of that, and we all have this beautiful 3-bed, 3-bathroom, place to stay in. So the same thing's happening on the larger homes, where they're coming in to do masterminds and business corporate retreats or relocations. It's fantastic. So it's more than just vacation, but we do look for that traffic that's coming into the area.
Got it. So are you, do you focus on not just finding the right property, but this is probably for you, Jerry, the marketing too of it and making sure that it's out there? Because it seems like every time I jump on an Airbnb or any of them, that there's just so many to choose from. So do you help, with standing out?
Yeah, 100%. So, at the end of the day, once you've located the perfect property and you negotiated the perfect, strategy around the house with the homeowner, because like Dave was alluding to, there's many different ways that we do a deal with the homeowner. It could be a straight lease. It could be what we call a done for you, where we just market the house, and they collect all the money and they just pay us a marketing fee. There's like a hybrid approach where it's a combination of both. So there's many ways we can do a deal with a particular homeowner. Once we do that, now the next step is to really get this property listed on all the platforms. So you've got VRBO, Airbnb, Expedia, Booking.com, and about 40 other sites that this property could be hosted on, so that you've got eyeballs all over the world searching for your property. Now, the listing has to make sense. The pictures have to make sense. You've got to know how to write copy. We're, at the end of the day, we're a marketing company, and we know exactly how to market the listing so that we get top reviews. Dave's properties and our students' properties are amongst the highest rated in the areas in which they're at, like especially in Scottsdale and Phoenix area, where our properties are rated like in the top 1%, because of our marketing, our marketing skill sets.
Oh, that's perfect. So with that, what do you think the biggest mistakes that people make when they try to just jump into this business without knowing what to do?
Dave, do you want to take that, or do you want me to take that?
Yeah. They all make such big mistakes. They as soon as they get a house, if they get a house, right, the pictures, they don't take a whole lot of time in thought process on the pictures. Online is a beauty contest, right? People see, that's the first thing you see. If you don't have gorgeous pictures and it's not laid out properly in the right presentation, people are going to pass on it. That's the number one mistake people make. Second is their pricing. They have no idea what the pricing strategy is, so they either undercut the market because they're going to try to buy the bookings, or they put them so high they never get booking. So it's very critical that you have both of those factors working for you, and then they don't respond, right? That's the third and probably the most valuable aspect. Got to respond in record time. Generally, I try to respond within 5 to 10 minutes of an inquiry. This assures me, I'm taking care of my customer before they leave, and if you engage with them, you can get them booked right then. And most people wait an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or sometimes days to get back to people.
Wow. Well, because they're running their own lives, right? Not
Right.
really thinking about what's best for the customer. But,
Sure.
At the end of the day, the customer needs to always be the first person. So I always giggle, and I don't care what business that I've helped and that I go in to help. We start there with, okay, well, how are you handling the customers you already have, right?
Right.
And
Sure.
they all tell you that, we're great at customer service, and then it's like,
No, you're not.
Well,
right? That's not really what's going on. Well, here's the phone call that I heard your receptionist,
Right.
Oh, and this is what happened when I tried to, send something to you on social media, and I didn't get anything for 3 days, and all of those things that I think that so many folks think it has to be complicated, and it's not. It's those basics that they screw up on, which keep them from, making those real big millions that they want to. So I love the concept, and you're so right with anybody can do it, but so many people make those mistakes. They just throw it on. And even when I looked at one in Mexico, I was like, well, I don't want to stay there. Like, there's nothing fun and exciting about staying there.
Right.
No,
And the
100%.
one that we picked, they had decorated the table with margarita glasses and streamers and stuff like that. So it's like I
It was fun.
put myself there, right?
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
I
Well,
absolutely-
I'm gonna add to what Dave said, because we see this from two sides of the equation. I think when somebody's ready to jump into a new business, right?
Yeah.
You have to treat it like a new business, not like a hobby, right? And so some of the biggest mistakes, if they don't have a solid set of, a pathway to know exactly how to do this, get the right mentors, get the right education, either be us or somebody else, get the right education before you go into this thing. That is what I feel most people lack that try to do something. I don't care if it's this or anything else, is they need the right mentors that have gone before them, made all the mistakes, because trust me, Dave's made all the mistakes. That's why he's such a great teacher right now, is because he knows just as much as what not to do than what to do, right? Which makes him a master. Because if you know both sides of that equation, you become really good at what you're doing. And I think if anybody's going to take a business serious, jump in with 2 feet, get the help you need so you don't go it alone. It's going to shorten your learning curve. And that, I feel, is the biggest mistake that some people do. They hear this guy's doing this guy's doing that. It's this easy. It's that simple. When it really isn't. It's just a business. And you have to understand every facet of it, every aspect of it. And you have to get good at all of it. That I think is critical as well.
Oh, you're so right. I even one of the things that I think Dave had mentioned earlier is that you have to even make sure that you can do what you want to do in the area. Like in some parts of Vegas, like it's banned now because some of the older homes and the older people that have lived here for years, are like, oh no, this was a party, we were asleep by 9 o'clock every night, and that's when the party just starts. And so they've now banned it in certain areas, and you have to be out of the city in order to do it here in Vegas. And so knowing that before you even get started, I think is a really big thing. But as you said too, Jerry, most folks, I think that they don't treat any of it as a business.
Right.
They just think it as it's a hobby. Well, as long as it's a hobby, then no, you're not gonna.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be especially in our space. You may get away with that by renting out a room or a shed or a garage or maybe even a small lease on a $100,000 or $200,000 home. But when you're in the luxury space like we are, and you're dealing with houses usually over $700,000 up into $2, $3, $4 million. You're talking about a different business. And remember, when you come in there to negotiate a deal with a homeowner, you got to come in there, looking professionally, sounding professionally, and really understanding your game. You got to be on your game, and so that's why Dave and I have come together to build something around that, so that if somebody's interested, we can actually take them from A to Z and really understand the business and have success.
Oh, that's so great. No, because I do watch folks just do it in a and what happens is that they don't stay in it long. So we had a good friend of ours who bought a beautiful place down in Carlsbad, and I think they had it less than a year. And they were begging on Facebook, please rent it, please rent it. And I'm like, maybe they didn't do that right. And
it's so great. We just opened up offices in Carlsbad, so it's so neat. We're actually moving in this week, which is really exciting. We have, Dave has his office in Scottsdale. I'm up here in Temecula, and we've had such a popular demand in the North County, San Diego region to learn this, because it's a real, San Diego's a real, vacation destiny place. Absolutely. And people want to know it. And we've been running, preview events and, here for a while, and people are just, when are you guys going to get an office, and so we finally pulled the trigger on that, and we're excited. So if any of your, your listeners, your followers want to stop by our office, they'll be able to do that now.
Oh, that's going to be great, because they needed you,
Yeah.
They finally sold it, but it was a beautiful, 6-bedroom, 5-bath. And I think they thought that it was just going to be easy, just turn on the switch, but they didn't listen to Dave. They didn't follow what he said to do. They just thought, we're going to get this, and it's going to, they were doing the math, right? Okay, well, if we can rent it out, 100 days, and that's not, let me ask you, is that what happens?
Yeah. It is what happens, but here's the real truth in the matter. It's all in the structure of your deal. I mean, a purchase model just doesn't make sense. It takes too long to recap your money and start making money. You have to really structure your deal correctly in order to start making money out of the gate. And that's what we try to do, is focus in on the deal structure first.
I love that.
And we want to make sure that the numbers all make sense. If they don't make sense, you got to run from the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's like
never,
next,
So when you first look at it, it's never buy immediately. So you say no.
No, my gosh. There's a lot of other variables that are in place. You have to just do your homework, make sure you run the numbers, make sure it's in a non-HOA, make sure it's in a safe zone, okay? Because you don't want to do anything under the radar. You want to make sure that the occupancy rates are high enough all year round to make it worthwhile.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm just like salivating. Just salivating.
Hey, MDE Nation. Have you grabbed the original, the OG book, the book that started it all? The book, The $1 Million Equation. That was my original passion project, where everybody kept asking me, Richelle, tell me how you rebuilt back your $1 million business. How in the world did you come back from losing it all? How in the world did you do it? And I sat and I spent 2 weeks and I wrote The $1 Million Equation. So it sounds exactly how I talk. If you put my voice to it while you're reading it, you will feel the essence of me. But you will also learn some really great, valuable lessons on how to build your own $1 million business. Yep, you can grab it right there on Amazon.
Well, tell me about your absolute favorite client that you've ever had. Why don't you, either
Do you want me to
one
take that, Dave, or do you want to take that?
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
All right. I think our favorite client is somebody who is so curious, so hungry for financial success in their own personal life.
Yeah.
It's my favorite client because I just watch how they go through the material, how they train, how enthusiastic they are, and that they're just wanting to be a student. Like, they have no ego. Like, because, a lot of times, our industry attracts a lot of real estate professionals who've been flipping for 20 years or, been wholesaling properties, or maybe they're even very, very successful in renting out, in the long-term rental game, right? Because we've had those clients. And these particular students that come, God bless them, because they've had a lot of success in the real estate space, but they think they know this particular industry. And just like any other variable within an industry, you still really need to know. And so a lot of times, my favorite student is the one that just is willing to drop their ego and learn something new. So that's the first part. The second part is really when they take action, because it's all about getting into action, right? You could blame everybody for the lack of your success. You could justify your own, misfortune in any venture that you're willing to take. But my favorite client is the one that just doesn't make excuses. They just go do it. They just take the Nike slogan and they just do it. But they do it strategically by getting the information and taking baby steps towards what they're about to try to accomplish. And that's what makes them not only a master, but that's what makes them successful. And so my favorite client from that perspective is just a hungry person, willing to step out of their comfort zone and, become somebody that they may not be already.
Yeah, and just follow the rules. There's so many that it just drives me nuts when I go, okay, look, there's 9 steps. You can't skip any of them. And I don't care, what it is. You can't skip it, Well, I don't like to do that. Okay, well, if you don't like it, you're never going to make it. I was just having a conversation argument kind of with people saying, well, look, if you were a bad employee, can you be a great entrepreneur? And I was saying no, unless you fix those things that made you a bad employee, because,
right.
Truly entrepreneurship is about being consistent and disciplined and open and coachable and an implementer, right? And so many folks want to skip those things because they think they're too smart, too cool for school.
Right. It happens. It just happens. And, anytime I catch myself in something that I want to achieve or figure out, and I catch myself thinking I'm like a know-it-all and something, I got to step back and say, wait a second, maybe there's something I need to learn here, right?
Yeah.
So it's important that we humble ourselves in that sense. Especially when you're jumping into a new business. I think it's critical in that sense. So
Sure. Well, I know that they all want to learn more about it. So down below, they've got a webinar that you can jump on and learn really the strategies. They've got a live event, information of everything that you can do with you'll see Dave. You won't see Jerry though.
Yeah.
But you'll see Dave there. ready to just kind of show everybody how this works. And that's what's truly exciting about where we are, I think, today. And the theme of this whole thing is about creating independence and really leveraging where we are and using what you have, to get to where you really want to be. And you guys are just crushing the game, and I'm so grateful to have you here to share it all.
No, thank you so much, Richelle. The Zoom is hanging up a little bit here.
To do right now for the last half of the year, to just crush it, to really get to the goal that they want to do. What is it? What do you think?
Yeah, if they're a small business owner and you're you're running a small business, I think we're looking at just completing now the second quarter and moving into the third quarter. For me, and I'm just speaking for myself, is really focusing on where that revenue is, where to pick up that revenue for the third and the fourth quarter. It's critical. You're going into the summer months, so depending on what business it is, it could be, seasonal type business. You want to make sure you can hold on to as much resources you can and generate cash flow on a regular basis. I'm a big fan of that. Usually the turn of the year, you're just setting up the goals and the systems in the first quarter. You start building some momentum within the second quarter. And then in the third and fourth, you got to crush it on revenue, right? So that's what's going to help you grow the business. And it's interesting because, when Dave and I first started, it was just us, it was just the two of us. And then we grew a small team. And now we have over 35 people, somewhat associated to our, company, between vendors and employees and, independent contractors. We've got like 35 people to that are working with us on a regular basis. So we're excited about the growth, and it's not just the Dave and Jerry show anymore. It's much bigger than that. We brought on strategic partners, we brought on equity partners to help us really scale this thing to a really big company. And so I'm thrilled. But my best advice for anybody that's an entrepreneur looking at their second quarter numbers and third quarter is focus on cash flow and revenue.
Yep, love it. And Dave, what do you think?
If I was looking at this and I was saying, is this for me? I would ask myself a few questions. Number one, am I coachable? Number one, am I a self-starter? Can I do things on my own? And do I follow direction? If I can do these things and I can talk to individuals, go ahead and plug into this business. That's really what it takes. It takes someone that does have some communication skills, because you have to get out and do it. We don't do it for you. We teach you how to do it. I would strongly encourage anyone that fits those parameters to look at the business, because it's the first business I've ever been in. When I've actually plugged in, I said, you know what? I'm financially free on one house. You don't need more than one house if you get the right house. Then you can build your empire any way you want, but you're in control. Your day is in control. Your circumstances aren't controlling yourself, but you finally got that dream life by just one property. So I tell anyone that comes in and starts doing it, even if it took you 90 days to get your first property, who cares, right? You got control.
Yeah, no, love it. Again, I am so grateful.
Richelle, what's interesting is all the different types of clients that we have. We have, husband and wives that have a corporate job, and they just want an extra, $100K a year on the side that they can have fun with. And one of the best parts of our business, since we spend our time in the luxury space, is the fact that we get to use the property. You're going to rent out a property maybe 60-70% of the year. Guess what you get to use with the rest of the property? You get to use it for you and your family and your friends, and you get to hang out in these homes. And I showed you a home earlier before we did this interview.
It was crazy.
It was so crazy. We're like, wow, these are the houses you do? I was like, yep, that's what we do.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, no, I know that they're all intrigued, and I know that they're going to click below. If they don't, maybe this isn't for them. But if you really want financial freedom, this is a great way to do it. And of course, real estate, there's lots of people out there, but just the fact that you don't have to own it, that sold me, before. It was like, I fell in love with, I don't have to own it. So that's so
wonderful.
Great. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, you're
absolutely.
Thank you.
Richelle, thank you so much. Have a great 4th.
Yeah,
Take
Okay,
care.
take care, everyone. Have a great holiday.